It is the 27th of September 2019. I am trying to mute this other channel real quick, so stand by. What is up, YouTube? It's Richie. Oh, look at this. I'm messing this up all different ways. September 2019. I am trying to mute the... Oh, I didn't realize I had it open on two different... Never mind. All right. What's up, guys? I am joined once again, and I thought this was important. I wanted to do this last night, but sadly, well, actually, awesomely, he was fishing with his son, so he couldn't make it. But I brought the Big Sib, Brandon, back from the Big Sib YouTube channel. He is off of a week-long suspension for you on YouTube for putting out videos like, well, the one I'm showing you right now. Brandon, what's up, brother? How did you deal with being suspended? Did you cower in a corner and do as you were told, or did you come back out with an hour-long video that just blows this whole thing straight wide open?
No, it ticked me off. And silence in the face of evil is evil itself. Acquiescing to the enemy at a point in time when they're gaining control, it's just idiotic. We should stand up and stand our ground at all times. I
totally agree. It's amazing right now for the people that, I mean, okay, how about this for instance, and I get it. I made a video the other day and I was talking about we're the only entity that lives on this earth right now that literally has to pay to live here. And if you've got a family, it's an even worse thing. I mean, you have to pay. You can't not live here. Not if you're a straight white, well, not if you're a straight American. If you don't belong in the country, you're good to go. You can do whatever it is you want. I put videos up the other day talking about the shape of the earth, and the guy was a physicist, and he was out here. His name was Brian Mullen. He started making videos, and he was approached, and he was consequently shut down. And I put his videos are still out there. The information's still out there. I get it. A lot of us have, over the years, myself, Nicholas, too many channels to name have been approached or messed with one way or the other. I get it. You're not going that route, are you? You're not going to go down quietly. I totally agree with what you said. Yes, you said this in your video on, I believe it was Monday you came out with this, right?
Yeah, well, I loaded it up. It took me 9 hours to load this video. So it didn't get out until about 9 p.m. at night on Sunday night. I started trying to load it at 1:30 during the day. And
well, it's a doozy, and I'm amazed how well you kept your composure, because I could tell when you made this video that you were mad. You were definitely mad. Hey, I know you do this when you start your videos out. You want to start this live stream off with a prayer real quick?
Yeah, let's do that. Dear Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for joining us together again. Let's keep the trolls and the shields out of the chat room. Let your word not return it to thee void, but let it accomplish that which you please and prosper in the thing that where you sent it. Anoint this messenger as we get this message out, and let the seed fall on good ground. Open the hearts and the minds of the people to accept the truth and quit living the lie. In your precious son's name we pray. All right. Hey, so Richie, I could pull up, you've got it there, but the very first thing that I would like to touch on, and let me get my screen ready too. Let me do that.
You tell me when you want to share, man. I got you right. You're good to go. We can screen share on both sides now. Imagine that. Technologically advancing every time.
You've got it right now on the little clip that I'm gonna discuss, because this is important. So what most men and women don't understand is the importance of language today. And what happens is, as the controllers continue to lock us down and herd us into a corner to where we can't use the only not one nonviolent means of telling them no, stop. And that is what is happening today. We can't even out anybody of any particular nation. The umbrella has spread on words. And let me explain that. And I'm going to come off memory on this, guys.
Stand by. What do you mean? What do you mean when you say the umbrella of words?
Okay, so you take something like the word racism. Racism used to have a definite definition, right? It meant hatred for a particular man or woman of another race or whatever. But now racism can be anything that the person who deems he's been offended the umbrella has just spread. Like anti-Semitism is now so far, the net cast out so far that not one dissenting voice can be heard. You just instantly throw that card out there, anti-Semitic, and all discussion and debate is gone out the window, and nobody is allowed to even crack that veil that they've surrounded themselves with. And that goes for all kind of trigger power words in our current paradigm. And what happens today is that men and women, because of our language barriers and not being able to use our language, and of course the continued dumbing down of society, and the removal of words from our language, and the removal of us being able to read and write and comprehend what we're reading very well, is essentially a regulation of thought. And what I mean by that is words and language is the conduit, the filter, in which the mind is able to come into reality. And once you come into reality with something, that's how you transcend thought into the material plane. Well, when you start restricting the avenues and the language that you can use, well, it's a regulation of thought, and we are all under MK Ultra mind control. And so I'll start. I mean, Richie, how do you want this to go?
Let's. How about this? Let's talk about what we were talking about before we went live. Exactly what let me show this real quick. What I had up earlier. One of my subscribers sent me a link to this video right here, and it's actually a guy that's videotaping the exact animal sacrifice in Israel as it happened. Tell me what you tell these people. Tell everybody that's watching right now what you told me about this beforehand.
Yeah, well, what you're seeing here is the Lamb of God. This is a ritual. Of course, the way rituals work is they invite the whole world in, and that's that transcendental magic that's making us all part of it. And what you have is the Lamb of God being slain. That's what's, and of course to us, we know who that is. To them, it's showing that that time period is over. And then of course the next sacrifice is going to be the heifer, which is a return back to Baal and their Babylonian monarchy, the mystery religions of Babylon, which of course on our channel I don't give it the name Babylon. It's Talmudism and it's Kabbalism is exactly what it is, and it's the doctrines and commandments of men, and it's the same ones from 2,000 years ago. And you can go to the Jewish Virtual Library and read it for yourselves. The Pharisees are a continual line of rabbis that form today's Judaism, and how they have managed to bamboozle all of mankind. Well, they really haven't. It's only been within, now understand this, most of this stuff I share, all these quotes from the Talmud and all these quotes, this is knowledge that we had just 100 years ago. Most of the church people in America had this knowledge. Some of the quotes that I pulled from last week were from pamphlets that were handed out at Baptist church, at Catholic church. They were handed out everywhere. They were pamphlets, and it was common knowledge. And the way that they've restricted this is from the World War II story forward, and it's the coverage of that word, right? And by triggering everybody on this word and infiltrating and subverting, which is what they're taught to do, by the way. They're taught to infiltrate, subvert, and act on the outside as if they are pious and of good nature, but really on the inside, they're full of dead men's bones.
Yeah, that's no joke. It's funny that right after World War II, a lot of things started changing. And I mean, it goes back to Crowley, Jack Parsons, all these guys doing the Babylon working, allegedly, nobody can prove this ever, but it sure seems like strange timing that Roswell occurs in 47. They tear the veil in 47. They claim that something came through real quick. And then from then on, after World War II, the war that was supposed to end all wars, just like World War I was, things started changing. They started taking over the public school system. Everything started changing. And then we had, you know, the devil's music, the CIA, the powers that be flooding the country with drugs starting in the 60s and getting even worse. I mean, it ramped up to epidemic proportions.
Yeah, and what you had there, okay, let's just do the 47, right? That's a huge number, the 47 degrees on the compass of Freemasonry. But you also have the 11 there, and that's your change event code, right? That we're signaling to you that the duality is working here. We're gonna dress up as workers of the light, and really we're working for the dark. And what happened in the first two world wars, and even going back to the French Revolution and forward, was destruction of cultures. And of course, the mass migration to America. This was planned. They took us out of our homelands. Of course, Karl Marx is quoted as stating, "A people without a history can be easily controlled." And what they did was slowly destroy culture after culture after culture into what we have today, where nobody has an identity. I give you an example. We call ourselves white men. Is that really what we are? No. Where's our true culture at? Where's our true identity? Where's our heritage, and where's everybody else's heritage at? It's just completely the only tribe left on earth that completely knows their heritage is the tribe sitting in Israel, acting in the place of the real tribe of Israel.
It's funny that you just brought that up, because I had a conversation earlier today with somebody saying that only a few hundred years ago, no matter how it happened, every continent had its own race of people, their own language, just, you know, and if you look at it, how did they all get there? How did they all get separated where they were all the same color? They were all the same religion. They were all following the same lowercase g God, and they all spoke the same language. It smacks of the story of the Tower of Babel, in my opinion. And then suddenly they mix everybody in. Nobody knows. I mean, when I was a kid, they married it within their bloodline. For the most part, if you're Italian, you married Italian. You were Jewish, you married Jewish. Same. You know what I mean? That has been completely blurred, like you read about.
Yeah. Well, of course, Richie, well, you get right back to the 𝗕nci𝘁𝗵𝗋, right? And of course, that's the repair of the world, where most people go, okay, what are we repairing ourselves to? Well, the writing's on the wall. The truth is self-evident. We are not going forward. We're reversing, and we're destroying all our cultures, all our strong backgrounds. And of course, when, like I keep saying, and I'm going to say it time and time again, you remove a man from his history, you move a man from his heritage, and you steal the land out from under him and make him pay to survive, and put him in as a domesticated animal. And that's what we've done. Make no mistake about it, folks. We have been domesticated like animals, and we are on a human, man, woman farm. And we are being bred and treated like animals. And it's a shame.
It's flagrant too. It's really, really obvious. I just imagine how these guys are sitting back and just laughing like, I cannot believe how easy this entire thing is. We're controlling these people. We're getting them to fight each other to further our cause, and it's working.
Well, they already call us the cattle, right? And what we do is go out and act like them. Nobody can reach their higher mind today in conversations. Hey, look, man, the person you see on Sundays when I do our studies is the person you see out in public. I try to reach up people out in real life, and man, you can see the anger and the emotions that come to people when you break through or try to break through that cognitive dissonance. And we really do treat each other like dogs and cattle. It's a shame.
It's amazing. It's amazing, man.
It really
killed my life, because, of course, as soon as I'm live, 300 people have to text me right away. So it is what it is, man. It happens it's like magic. Well, it probably is actually magic. So there's that. At any rate. All right. So explain the one thing that you were saying. They're killing the lamb, and the next one's going to be the heifer, and the CRISPR technology. You found the links to that. You want to show those? You got those up?
Let me see. Do I have to do this again? Okay, share screen. Whatever
you did the first time, I'm not sure.
There we go. I think I'm getting it. Is it there?
There it is.
Okay, so let's do
Oh,
this.
look at that. Look at that. Get rid of those little pop-ups.
All right, did it clear back up now, Rusty?
Oh, you're good. You're good. You're good.
Okay, so first off, guys, what you have to know is that the red heifer won't come naturally. So what they're going to do is, and you can see it down here, this is the ritual. The heifer born from a natural birth must be completely red and everything else. And, of course, anybody with any kind of sense is going to know that the only way that they're going to make this thing come, because this isn't of the Father. This is of a total, this is man trying to sit in the place of the Most High and make his creation. So let's do this. The digital world also, I'm going to lump this all in together right here. The fourth industrial revolution is heading towards us too at the same time that this is coalescing with the red heifer. So what is happening is that man is trying to succumb the natural creation, which is nature, which is self-evident, it's before us, and succumb that through forcing in man's creation. This is just what it is, plain and simple. So they're going to try to bring about this red heifer. And of course, it's going to have to come through man messing with genes, man messing, whether it's CRISPR technology or cloning. I'm not 100% sure, but this is another site right here where they're trying to clone the red heifer, and this is from 1997. Make no mistake,
they've been on this for a long time.
Oh, for a long time, Richie. That's
from 97.
Yeah, that's from 1997. That's Rabbi Ewlish and things of that nature. This clone is then genetically identical, but and this is called The Ashes of the Red Heifer by Stephen M. Ewlish, PhD. But if you go through and find it, and you'll know, and the point of me saying this is that, and I made this statement during the live with my show Sunday. It's not going to be of the Father, the Creator. It's not going to be from Him. So they're going to have to force it into being, right? And of course, when man takes it upon himself and puts his will above the will of the Creator, well, we're talking about Satanism. And of course, people go Satanist, Antoine LaVey and stuff like that. But what you really don't know is that Antoine LaVey is a Jew by nature, and this is Cabalistic doctrine. This is ascending and going up another way, and it's all it revolves around is going up another way. And they don't care if it's another way by technology or anything like that. It's just going up another way. You want that screen back, or you want me to talk about something else, Richie?
No, bring it up. Go ahead. You got the screen, okay, brother.
All right, so
I'm just clicking buttons over here.
So let me talk to you guys for a second that are in this. I'm going to show y'all something. So everybody believes that what's going on in our world is not everything's a random act. But make no mistake, there is no coincidences in this world. That things happen for a reason. And I want to share with people this is out of Trans Torah, where the androgyne, where the hermaphrodite gods of the Kabbalah. That's another show that I did a while back that was really well liked. And folks, I don't like doing these studies, but the truth is that we have already had the great falling away. And what I mean by that is Christian Zionism and support for the enemy is the great falling away. And that is my opinion. I have a lot of study to go into that, why that is my opinion. But let's take a little second here for those who don't know where the transgender and the androgynous worship comes from. It's a little funny that 3% of the population gets to force the rest of the population to accept new terms. And that's that umbrella deal coming back. Now we can't even use man or woman, he or she in our terminology anymore. We're just going to go to the or whatever these weird names are. But let's get these terms. The zakar, this term is derived from the word for a pointy sword and refers to a phallus. It is usually translated as male in English. All right, remember, folks, these are the original phallus worshipers. That's why you have in Washington, D.C., the phallus in London, and then at the Vatican. Make no mistake, folks. Don't differentiate the top tier. The top tier is one religion and they're one world, and they're combined together. It's the lower tiers that think that have the warring factions. The 𝗕𝗕𝗍𝗶, this term is derived from the word for a crevice and properly refers to a vaginal opening. It is usually translated as female. Then you have the androgynous, a person who has both male and female sexual characteristics. 149 references in the Mishnah and Talmud, 350 in classical midrash and Jewish law codes. That's the 2nd to the 16th centuries. This is the 𝗕𝗏, a person whose sexual characteristics are indeterminate, obscured. 181 references in Mishnah and Talmud, 335 in the classical midrash. And y'all folks, y'all can find this. So what the Jews teach is that a male soul can be trapped in a female body. I bet you, how many people knew that the Jews taught that? I bet you it isn't a whole lot. And what happens, this is how they infiltrate your society, and you know who rules you. So nobody knows what's in the text, but I want to read something from the scriptures for everybody. This is something that really touched my heart this week. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, you hypocrites! For you are like unto whited sepulchres, which indeed appear beautiful outward. Now, okay, that's the philanthropy, right? This is all these little organizations on the outer expression. You see the outer expression, and outer expression is they help the little old lady cross the street. The outer expression is that they come and built a couple of houses in the neighborhood. The outer expression is they bought bicycles for the kids in the lower 9th ward, or the police at station doing the same thing. That's the outer expression, right? But are within full of dead men's bones and all of uncleanness. Even so, you are also outwardly appear righteous unto men, but within you are full of hypocrisy and inequity. Of course, we know this word inequity is lawlessness. Okay, the golden rule, Matthew 7:12, and this is how we live. Therefore, all things whatsoever you would that men should do to you, do you even so to them. For this is the law and the prophets. Enter you in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction. Let me see. I'll just put it up here. Did that come in?
It's good. You're good. You got it, brother. You're nailing it.
And leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat, because straight is the gate, narrow is the way, which leadeth unto light, and few there be that find it. This is one of those hard sayings that many people read and don't really recognize the importance of it, is finding that narrow way. And I advise each and everybody out there to really start breaking down. One of my favorite quotes by Yahushua is, by thy words that thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned. That is the importance of our words, and what we say, and understanding what we say, and recognizing what we say, and how to use those words correctly. Matthew 7:15, and here's the warning for how not to get caught on that wide and broad path. Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. And that coincides with the Matthew 23:27. Beware of the gift giver who comes. And that's one of those things where you recognize that the enemy always comes bearing gifts. You know, they always want to help you. We're the helping hand. I guess I'll go ahead and play that. Well, I don't need to play that. Let's go.
Can we work with YouTube to have?
I'll try to
play
keep
it, brother. Play it.
You all play it. You all play it. Okay.
What did I tell you? I said I want you to come on here and just lay it all out.
All right. So look, guys, for everybody out there, this is from YouTube. This is my what I violated. The word here is we think it violates our hate speech policy. The shame of this 𝗦𝗕𝗍𝗂, the Holy Land, was that it was only Donald Trump talking and Jews dancing. That was all it was. It had absolutely no hate speech. But here we're going to see another Jew, Jonathan Greenblatt, right here.
We work with YouTube to get them to change their algorithms. We work with Facebook on trying to use a redirect method.
When you talk about globalists, another phrase used by right-wing extremists.
We work with Google on using AI to try to interrupt cyber hate before it happened.
And that's all you need to know about who's running YouTube.
Just so people know, he just said what I've been telling you for several years. They're using algorithms to interrupt things before you say them.
Right.
Before you say them.
Right.
So remember that time Regina Dugan was, Facebook is just going to take the words that you've already decided to share, but not the other ones.
Oh, I remember that. That was the when
How
she
creepy.
was doing, yeah, that's what that's
Building 9 or Building 7.
Yeah, I remember her saying that. And
Go ahead, brother. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I mean,
bro, that's also
everything just comes around.
That's right, and it does, Richie. Wasn't that the same interview where she was trying to make that little patch thing, or was that another one?
She was the interview where she said, Facebook has developed software where you don't even have to type. They're not going to read your mind. They're just going to take the words in your head that you've already decided to share. And right there and then I told everyone to get off Facebook right away, because this guy from the ADL just told you that we've got programs that can interrupt hate before it happens.
Yeah.
Well, hate is an enormous, now this is where the umbrella comes in. When they're talking about it, hate is an enormous umbrella and it covers everything. So they're blocking things before you even say them.
Yeah.
Where have we heard that before? Go ahead, brother. I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to point that out.
No, you're fine. And what happens, right, is so they're destroying our language, right? And this is one of those things that ticked me off when I wrote back YouTube. Of course, I didn't get a reply, and my appeal was denied. And this is where I hit them at. The destruction of language has many facets, but one of the most common ways of destroying language is to expand what a word means. And we've covered this. Example: anti-Semitism's umbrella of coverage is now so vast that not one dissenting voice or fact can be brought up without the anti-Semitism card being pulled. This is happening on all fronts with power trigger words such as racism, prejudice, sexism, hate, just to name a few. Now, see, this is the unfortunate precedent situation that and I shouldn't say unfortunate, but this is the situation we find ourselves in today. We've lost our moral compass, our testicular fortitude. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Hard lines on morality and justice within a society force language to be used, which outs injustice and immorality. But now we are destroying the power of language through increasing the umbrella in which the power trigger words can be used instead of unambiguous. Now, see, this is one of the problems that most men and women today have. You think you're a person, and every person is a man, but not every man a person. You believe these things because you've been taught this way. But unambiguous means that there's one definition. That's what that word means. It can't be changed. And what is happening today is as this umbrella ever expands, well, what it does is everything becomes feeling based and morally relative. Well, any little snowflake on the corner that starts having a tear come out of her eye, don't worry about the truth that's happening or whatever. We just got to fix the way this lady or man feels. And really, it shows you how morally decadent and decrepit our society is at this point in time. And then here's the next thing where most men and women today don't recognize how serious of a truth this is. Language is our filter. This is how you bring the conscious thought into reality and conduit in which all thought must travel. It has to travel through something. It has to travel from our minds to our mouths into a language so that those around us can understand what we're trying to say, to enter into the material world. The restriction of our words and our ability to use those words is a regulation of thought. And the manipulation of the words and the word masters, we're going to see here in a little while who those people are. But it is time to identify the enemy at a time when they're going to continue knocking us off the internet. I don't see how my channel would last a whole lot longer. But let's continue the study. Now, crooks are excused. Liars are felt bad for. The mentally unstable are assisted in their insanity, and perversion is openly peddled as normal. And this is the reality that we're living in. And somebody that I love reading is Isaiah. Isaiah had something to say about that. Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. And I'm just going to keep on going, Richie.
Have at it, brother. That's why I brought you on, man.
Hey, and look, guys, the lines between good and evil have eroded to the point of mere blurs. And this is important for people to understand this. You have to draw a line in the sand. I could have recoiled this week and said, you know what? If I do this again, they're going to block my channel. I could have done that, but no, that's not the way that we are supposed to do. We are supposed to stand tall.
And that's why I've been texting you all week to get you back on, because as long as they're targeting you, as long as someone like myself and then somebody else backs you up, they can't erase you, because that's what they'll try to do. We're not going to let that happen. But keep going, brother.
Yeah, I actually had a couple other guys hit me up this week too.
They should. They should.
And I appreciate it. I do appreciate it. I really do. We are told, shh. You know, that's what society does to us, right? Don't say anything. So-and-so is a doctor, a policeman. He's a Jew. He's a Freemason. He's a politician. He's a nurse. He's a firefighter. He's a Marine. You can't just go around telling the people the truth. Now, I made this point last week. Now, how would Yahushua feel about us, since he's the way, the truth, and the life, if we stand around lollygagging and allowing lies to be around us? And I'm going to tell each man, woman, and child here, the truth is that on that day, we're going to say, Lord, Lord, I cast out demons in your name. I did all kind of good in your name. And he's going to turn to us and say, get away from me, you worker of iniquity. I never knew you. And this is a shame, because we had all the chances in the world in this vile and decrepit system to say something or do something. Preachers preach damnable heresies. And what am I talking about right here? No man can have all the knowledge and information of the world. And I'll quote scripture for that too. My thoughts are higher than your thoughts. My ways are higher than your ways. For anybody to come to you and tell you that they have it all figured out, which I certainly don't. I try to share everything I recognize and understand. And I've come a long way, but I've just scratched the surface. Teachers indoctrinate our youth with communistic math and communistic English. Hollywood initiates our children into the Kabbalah/occult. Cops violate our life, liberty, and property. Politicians assist in the legalized theft of our labor. Nurses assist in administering chemical cocktails that damage the youth's minds. And I am led to believe that the one nonviolent act that we can carry out, which is using our language to defend that which is good and hold fast to the teachings of Yahushua, which never back down from any evil. I can't do that. I didn't finish that deal in my study. But am I to believe that the only nonviolent act that I am able to do is now restricted from us to be able to do? The fear of Yahuwah is to hate evil, guys. And that's in the Proverbs. You can find that. And we have to get to this point. For instance, I love my brother Jesse. He just got back from a tour in Iraq, but I tell him the truth about why he went to Iraq. I love my daughter who wants to be a nurse, but I tell her the truth about the medical pharmacological method and the corporatocracy. These are things we are morally obligated to do, even if it hurts somebody's feelings. We have to have thought and mind over our feelings. We have to have admonition over tolerance. And what that means, folks, if you can't maintain composure while you're telling somebody something, you probably need to back up, pray about it, and find another avenue to go at people. But tolerance is the bearer of hardship. And that's the society that we are living in right now. Everything is about tolerance. And that's because the society is bearing the hardship of tolerating. And truth over deception. We have to have truth over deception. You want to break in for a minute there?
No, I'm just hitting buttons and things are happening. Don't pay attention to me. Do your thing, brother. You got it. You're good. You're killing it. I
Okay.
heard Brandon in his live stream the other day say that he came on the first time and he was nervous. So I want to give him all the slack in the world. I'm just trying to put the good comments up there. Real
Okay.
quick, let me interject this real quick. This is something else that I was saying to somebody this morning. When you're talking about what would Jesus say if we all just backed off because they're trying to shut us up? Jesus came here and knew he was going to die and actually provoked the people that he knew were going to kill him. Jesus went out so hard, it's unbelievable. Cat of nine tails with hooks on it, ripping the flesh off his body, carrying his own cross, and then being hung by 3 spikes through the hands and through the feet and hanging there till he died. And he still forgave somebody while he was on the cross. And we're going to shut up just because they mess with us with electronic means. They take away our views. They mess with the subscriptions, etc. Blah, blah. No way. There's no way. No way. This stuff is getting incredibly real. Any day, any time, any minute, it could be over. I think about going into the next a lot and what it's going to be like. And I'm going to have a lot of explaining to do, but hopefully God watches this live stream once in a while. At any rate, go ahead, brother.
Well, yeah, let's just go back a few hundred years ago. Let's go back to the Reformation and the Waldenses and the Albigenses and all those who kept the scriptures alive and what they would do on the stake while they were being burned at the stake, singing the Psalms and things of that nature. What we call Christianity today is just, it's sad at how weak. But of course, that comes from infiltration and subversion of your backbone, which is morality and moral uprightness. And of course, we see that rampant into a society today. But let's start on paradoxes, guys. The paradox of education is precisely this: that as one begins to become conscious, one begins to examine the society in which he is being educated. And the paradoxes is a nice way to start examining what you believe. And tolerance and apathy are the last virtues of dying society. Somebody told me that wasn't actually quoted by Aristotle. I went and researched that, and he was correct. So I'm not going to give that to Aristotle. It was a Dr. John Kennedy that said that. Still, the quote itself holds true. And here's one of the greatest things that I put this in here for, because once you get to the Kabbalah, and once you understand the lexical deception that is the Kabbalah, and if anybody here has ever studied language and studied the correlation of Latin, Greek, Hebrew, and English, you will start to find a lot of similarities. And what happens is today, we don't know orthography, we don't know etymology, and we don't have the original root words of our language. We don't understand these. So should the time ever come when Latin and Greek should be banished from our universities and the study of Cicero and Demosthenes, of Homer and Virgil should be considered as unnecessary for the formation of a scholar, we should regard mankind as fast sinking into an absolute barbarism, and the gloom of mental darkness is likely to increase until it should become universal. So what I want to do is say, at this point in time, is tell you that the Tikkun Olam is directly correlates to the redemption through sin. And the only way that has been able to be obtained is to slow drip Fabian socialists, dumb us down to the point to where we don't have the ability to think or envision the higher mind concepts. And that's exactly what's happened to us. And this is one of the best quotes I've ever found. This is from Randolph S. Foster. This is going to speak something before I start on the Kabbalah. And this is where we're at, folks. And this is a truth that really hit home to me. The known and willful support or perpetuation of an error is a crime against humanity and a sin against him who is truth. To cling to error or defend error when one has reason to suspect it may be error reveals a heart that does not fully love the truth for the truth's sake. To strenuously support and shield from scrutiny what we believe when we are aware that its truth is questionable reveals a heart that is not completely candid. We are supposed to be children of the light and to be afraid to shine light upon what we believe shows a love still for darkness. Although all men have an innate and genuine thirst after truth and corresponding disgust for error, there may exist, strange as it may seem, extreme opposition to the acceptance of certain truths, an absolute hatred of them. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the cognitive dissonance that is revealed. This is the when you go to talk to your loved ones, the people that you love. This is the deer in a headlight look that you get from them. The instant, what would they say? There's no point in how does this affect my life is one of the best quotes that you get from people. This is the reality that we live in, and I've said this time and time again, and this is a hard truth to take in. The truth isn't for everybody, so quit acting like it is, and you take that and understand that and apply it to your life. We try to get everybody. So here we go, guys. Here we go. We've explained language and why it's important to name things, give them proper names. There's legal maxims on this. You can go look this up. When the proper name of a thing has been lost, so has the definition been lost. These are legal maxims of law that are all over the place. So I'm going to play something for the Christians out there who may not know just what the Jew feels about you.
That is the right thing. Are you Jewish? Do you want to honor God? That is the godly thing to do. We respect one another.
The godly thing to do is to kill you.
The godly thing is to kill me.
That's right.
Yes?
That's what the Torah says.
The Torah says to kill us.
The Torah says that people who worship idols such as yourself, when there is a Sanhedrin,
To kill us.
yes,
Okay.
that's what the Torah
So
says.
we know how the Jewish people feel about Christians, yes? That you discriminate against Christians.
Christians are idol worshippers.
Okay.
That's how you get a channel taken down, ladies and gentlemen. But we're still going to do it because it's true. How many people? There's 1,100 people watching right now. How many people have ever heard that straight up? This is exactly why I wanted you on. I wanted you on, and I wanted to mirror your video, but I'd rather have you on here full blast because Brandon is no joke. This is like moonshine of truth right here.
Well, thank you, Richie. And you know, don't love the man, love the information, guys. You know, we're all infallible. We're all fallible. But this is information I've been digging into for a very long time. And just to give everybody a little idea, I started making these tie-ins about 2 years ago on Twitter, and then I just started really digging into this stuff and reading the disgusting crap that's in the Talmud and the Zohar and all over the place, and understanding where Helena Blavatsky was. You know, you hear people talk about Blavatsky, but you won't hear people call Blavatsky what she was. She was a Polish Jew or Russian, one of those Jews. She was a Jew, and all she had done was reinterpret the Talmud and the Kabbalah and done her own stuff. But let's see here. So they're going to kill the idol worshipers, right? This is one of those weird things that they're hypocrites. And Matthew chapter 23 tells you exactly what they are. I'm going to play this video right here, and you tell me who the idol worshipers are. All right, that's about all I can handle of it. And there's a reason why I can't handle a whole lot of it, guys. So most men and women have no idea what they're doing over there. That's called the Zavug. That's called davening, D-A-V-E-N-I-N-G. This is a sexual ritual. Okay, there's 22 Sephiroth that they can call on. Those Sephiroth can be male or females. And each one of those emanations of God, if they pray to that first jinn, that jinn doesn't answer, they go to the next jinn. Then they go to the Shekinah, and of course, nobody knows what the Shekinah glory, that's the glory hole. These things most people don't understand. But Matthew 24:2, let's get something out of the way. And Yahushua said unto them, See you not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. Well, so we have an issue right here for those of us who believe the words in the Bible. Either there's not a stone left of the temple, or there is. It's a law of contradiction. Well, the truth is there's not one stone left of that temple. This wall that they are praying at is none other than the Roman fort Antonia and its remains. And what is being done here is the copulation of the Zevug with the Shekinah or any number of other gods from the tree of life. That's the up. And most folks don't understand this. The tree of life has the triangle up. The tree of death is the triangle down, the female. That's your as above, so below. If one doesn't answer, they just pray to the next one. You'll find this same design on Trump Tower. If you look at Trump Tower, he has the groves with the 6 by 6 by 6 trees pointed down. That would be as you're below. And then if you go to the top of the towers, the shadows from the 7 spheres form 6 obelisks, 6 phallus. Please go look into that, folks. One look at Trump Tower and the Cabalistic design of the tower lets you know that he and his family also worship the God of forces. This is self-evident with Ivanka Trump running around with her Kabbalah bracelet. And, of course, Donald Trump's dad building Talmud centers all over New Jersey. Make no mistake, folks, you don't get to put casinos and things of that nature within New Jersey and anywhere else without being part of the 𝗕𝗕𝗗𝗕𝗕𝗕𝗕𝗕𝗕𝗕𝗕𝗕𝗕𝗕𝗕𝗕𝗕𝗕𝗵 Daniel 11:38. But in his estate shall he honor the God of forces, and a God whom his fathers knew not shall he honor with gold and silver and with precious stones and pleasant things. Okay, we're going to figure out who this God of forces is. And these are hypocrites, folks. These are the supreme hypocrites of the whole world. They're going to kill the rest of the world while they're sitting here praying into a brick wall. All right. So, the next thing I tied in, I've already tied in some of that. I'll play a little bit of this, guys. This is real. And if you have no idea where the transgenderism is, comes from the androgynous, this is alchemy and Kabbalism working together. This isn't about base metals. This is about base humanity. And of course, them wanting to become gods, and this the communistic hive mind mentality that we're going to. So let's explain how the Talmud works. Okay, so they say Torah. You instinctively go, okay, they're talking about the Old Testament. That's not the truth. As a matter of fact, what they do to the Old Testament scriptures is prove negatives. Okay, so let me do this. They say, and you can go find this, guys, like it says, we love your neighbor. Okay, well, what the Talmud does, they comment on that and say, well, it says love your neighbor, but it didn't say anything about love a Gentile or a Goyim. So the next comment is, a Jew can kill a Goyim. And they prove negatives over and over again throughout the scriptures, and that's how they argue. Here's another one here from Rabbi 𝗕𝗕𝗄𝗏 At the first time that the Holy One, blessed be the One, created the first Adam, he created him double-faced. So let's speak about this double-faced. This is nothing but Janus. That would be the Roman depiction of Janus with the double face and the back to back. I think there's more emanations of him in the Greek culture. You'll find him in all the pantheons, and made for him 2 backs, a back here and a back there. But isn't it written? He took one of his ribs, a lie. He said to them, this actually means one of his sides as we understand it, and one of his sides of the tabernacle. Said Rabbi Jeremiah ben Elazar, when the Holy One, blessed be the One, created the first Adam, he created him androgynous, as there it is written, when God created the Adam, he made him in the likeness of God, male and female created he them. And this is the stuff that's all throughout the Mishnah, and y'all can read it up there, guys. And I'm only going to play just a couple seconds of this. It disgusts me. There's a religion in place, folks, that's running us, and it's high time people start understanding what that religion is.
Agent Cabalistic, man, noem me 𝗕𝗕𝗄𝗏. Ik ben ook vaccinated in Pittsburgh en ik woon in Manhattan. Ik ben een student in Columbia University. Ik wil met jou meteen 𝗕𝗕𝗄𝗏 was
Okay, for any Christian Zionists that may be in here, When they say Torah, it has nothing to do with the Old Testament. And we're going to prove it. She's about to give a Torah lesson, or he's about it. Really, let's our language be honest. This is a he, and no matter what he does, he's going to be a he.
Man hat. Ze meint von mir seine Sachen, sie sah sehr starke Message. Ich bin aufgewachsen damit, mamisch nur ein bisschen, aber ich hab es kein Unterschied lernen auf der Weg, die ich lernen es hand. Die war zwei, da kommt von einer Cipher, was heißt 𝗕𝗔'𝗔𝗟. Es ist eine Cipher, was ist geschrieben geworden in Be'erich, darauf ich in Be'erich in der Unart von dem 19. Jahrhundert. Die Cipher ist liquid, es hat zusammengenommen von einer Sachte Teure von verschiedenen chassidischen Rebbes, von den ersten 2 Teures von chassidischen Rebbes. Und das ist beikert seine Schrapungen und seine Teures, was sind mehr Kabula, mehr Mysticism, was ist nicht für jede Meinung, nicht jeder eine versteht.
Okay, so that's about all I can take of Abby Stein. If you don't believe this is a real thing, let me do this. Here's Abby Stein doing the same thing of teaching people the androgynous and cross-dressing and all this stuff is good to go. We'll go back to the study now, but anyway, I just wanted people to know that. The tum-tum is the extreme expression of the androgynous. One of the things, if you go back in history, the cult of 𝗕bl and the castrated priests of 𝗕bl, when they were able to pull off going in public and trick men and women into believing that they were the opposite of what they were, that was considered extreme gain in magic capabilities. This stuff goes deeper than what most men and women can even begin to fathom. That's why they have all the trannies on TV and you lusting after them. So let's do this. Let's go to Rabbi Steinholtz. So what I did in this study was I grabbed a bunch of different rabbis from different places and added it in so that people couldn't back up and say, well, that's just one sect. That's not the truth. Jewish mysticism, according to Rabbi Steinholtz, Jewish mysticism or Kabbalah is the official theology of the Jewish people. Although the world of Kabbalah is profoundly symbolic and abstract, its teachings are of tremendous significance to the individual and to society alike. Its influences are evident in all Jewish spheres, the prayer book, the Talmud, and Jewish philosophy. Kabbalah is not a separate area of Torah knowledge, but rather the hidden spiritual dimension of the revealed aspects of the Torah. These revealed facets of Torah, such as Halakha, Jewish law, speak primarily about visible physical things. Kabbalah, on the other hand, speaks directly about spiritual entities. This is the God of forces, folks. Like the system of 𝗕◰, spiritual worlds are graduated levels of reality, and the Sephirot, the divine attributes, are channels of divine energy through which God creates, sustains, and directs the universe. It also discusses the interaction, the zivug, the sexual correlation between these entities, and the performance of mitzvah, the religious duty. Now, one of the things that you have to give credit to the Jew and to this diabolical world order is that they are well organized, well funded, but also they don't give up. They don't ever give up in trying to see that their goals are met. And it's one of these things where any difference of opinion in any of our society, I'll give you an example right now. If I say something you don't like, and I think something that you don't like, you have instantly become my enemy. And I had one do this to me yesterday, that I'm a blasphemer and I'm going straight to hell. That was the first thing he ever posted on my channel. It's unbelievable how easily we are separated. And this is a result of people woe for offenses. It is for this reason that Kabbalah has been called the soul of the Torah. The Hasidic movement will jump on down. But so what I want to explain at this point in time is that Kabbalah deals with the lexical deception, while alchemy deals with transmutating mankind with chemicals and heavy metals. And so if you ever want to know the why we are being chemically assaulted with metals and and pathogens and everything else. It's the destruction of our DNA. But also the transmutation. Trans is to the other side. And of course, we know what mutation is. It's the transmutation of mankind. It has nothing to do with heavy metals. It's base humanity. And of course, Kabbalah deals with the lexical deception, the words deceptions, and also the gematria, the magic in front of your face. So I want to read this from Shabbat.org, the commentary on Halakha, Mishnah Torah, chapter 10. And this is from 26b. Although our sages declared, kill even the best of the Gentiles, the Goyim, and that is mentioned above, the Rambam states in Hilkot Melachim 8:10 that any Gentile who does not accept the 7 universal laws commanded to Noah and his descendants should be slain. These directives, however, can be interpreted to apply only in a time of war or in a time when the Jews have control over the Gentiles. So in all our times of peace, when mankind thought they had peace, the Jew has been always at war. That's why it's called the Jewish revolutionary spirit. They have always been at war with everybody else until they gain control. And of course, I shared some of that last week. All Jews are called not men. We're cattle. Of course, you can read this, guys. Richie, you want to get anything in here at this time, or you just want me to continue on?
Brandon, you're on it, brother. You're on it. I'm just trying to keep. The only thing I wanted to pop up, and that's what I did do, was the video I did 3 years ago where John Hopkins actually called out the transgenderism and, you know, people pushing their children to take hormones. They straight up said it. Them in the American College of Pediatric Doctors and Nurses said that it's a mental disorder. You can't change sex, and the term gender is actually, like you're talking, it's a word that shouldn't exist. It shouldn't be used to point out a boy or a girl or a him or a shim or whatever. You know what I mean? It's just made up. There's male and female. Enough said. That's
it. And see, the truth becomes self-evident, right? It's the lies built around. It's the sham, the wool pulled over our eyes that has us living the way that we are, right? They have built a perceptive reality that we perceive that isn't anywhere close to the truth. And of course, we just eat it up because we love living in unrighteousness, obviously. But let's talk about some more from Maimonides. Okay, this is another big time rabbi. It's a mitzvah. That's commandment / religious duty in Hebrew. However, to eradicate Jewish traitors, the Menim, the Christians, the Apocryphism, that's the heretics, i.e., that's the sincere Judaic converts to Christianity, and to cause them to descend to the pit of destruction, since they cause difficulty to the Jews and sway the people from God, as did Jesus of Nazareth and his students, and et cetera, et cetera. I want to talk about these. Messianic Jews for a second. I want to pull this up. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I've got it up here. All right, so I want to pull up. I knew I had it pulled up. That's synchronicity right there.
You're on it, brother. You're on it.
All right, so let's talk about the Messianic Jews right here, because I don't want anybody to get led astray. There's no such thing as a Messianic Jew. If anybody claims that they are a Messianic Jew and retain their Jewishness, they are a liar and a wolf in sheep clothing. Period. You cannot retain the traditions of men, the traditions of the elders, and the commandments and doctrines of the rabbis, and be a Messianic and be a Messiah, Messianic man. The Jewish people as a whole. Let's do this too. Let's read Baruch Levy's quote to Karl Marx while we're here. I do have a lot of this up. Y'all bear with me, folks.
You're good, brother. You're good. You're good time, man.
Let's read right here. Baruch Levy, writing to Karl Marx, said, "The Jewish people, taken collectively, will be its own Messiah. Thus will be realized the promise of the Talmud that when the times of the Messiah come, the Jews will hold under their keys the properties of all the people of the world." I'm going to read that one more time. The Jewish people taken collectively will be its own Messiah. Thus will be realized the promise of the Talmud that when the times of the Messiah are come, the Jews will hold under their keys the properties of all the peoples of the world. And that is Baruch Levy to Karl Marx. All right, so let's go through a couple of these. This is Rabbi Stephen Forston confirmed this reality. Judaism, Talmudism holds that one cannot be a Jew and a member of another religion, such as Christianity, at the same time. The so-called Jews for Jesus are just misleading. If a person is a Christian, that person cannot be a Jew. Regarding Jews for Jesus, Rabbi Morris Davis declared Judaism denies the messiahship of Jesus. Christianity affirms it. One cannot deny and affirm the same thing at the same time. Words have meaning. Jews for Jesus is as much an oxymoron as Christians against Christ. And that's the truth. You can't be, you're either one or the other. You can't be both. And that's because the two operating systems are diametrically opposed from one another. Understand that. Judeo-Christians still count themselves as Jews and accept all the religious teaching of the rabbis, Talmudism, adding only the article of faith that the Messiah has come in the person of Jesus, and we go on and on. So let's get back to the study. I just wanted to make that point. I'm glad I actually had that up. If a Noahide is striving,
don't worry about going on and on, man. If you feel like going on and on, have at it, because you're killing it.
Well,
you're killing it. So do what you feel, man.
Well, once you drive home a point, you drive it home. And look, guys, I know we've all been lied to. All right. I had a guy in here the other day. I blew his head off with some things, and he sat back and he said, why did they lie to me? And I said, man, it's everybody. We have been lied to our whole lives about who and what, and just everything from even the land that we stand on is a lie. Everything's a lie, folks. And this is one of the biggest ones that you can go and read the Talmud yourself. You can go read the Zohar yourself. And let me tell you something. What they have to say about everybody else is sad. It is disgusting. This is the most degenerate clan ever on earth. If a Noahide is striving in the learning of Torah, reveals new aspects of Torah, he may be physically restrained and informed that he is liable for capital punishment. If the court that is established in consonance with the 7 universal laws gives the death penalty to a Noahide, the execution is an atonement for the person's past transgression. Now here comes that reincarnation thing that they believe in. How many people here knew that the Jews preached reincarnation? Furthermore, the Noahide must experience reincarnation to be able to atone for transgressions he has done. This is the caste system, folks. Chaim Clarfin and Rabbi Yeldon, whatever. Here's another thing that I want to talk about. So when you see Noah, they mention Noah, or they mention the good people in the Bible, and they take claim for them. Always know that they mock them also. So when they say the Noahide law system, and you go, that's Noah that they're talking about. No, they're not. They're not talking about the Noah that you know of. The Noah that they talk about is a rabbi, is a Noah who ended as a castrate. And one story has it that he was castrated by a lion while he was drunk and on his way to have intercourse, and this scattered his semen. And I think I took the page down, but really who they're emanating there and calling on is none other than Enki from the Sumerian text, who Enki went around digging his phallus into the reeds and digging his phallus he was a pedophile too, by the way, and he scattered his semen everywhere. And that's coming out from Sumeria into Babylon and worked its way all the way down to where it is today. These are phallus worshipers, folks. Understand this. These are sexual deviant phallus worshipers and sex magic practitioners, and this is what their religion is based on. It may interest Judeo-Christians to know that while elder brother Maimonides strictly maintained Christians to be idolaters, he ruled that Muslims are not idolaters. Now here's a really hard sticking point for most of America and most of the world. You have been trained to believe that the Muslim and Islam is your enemy and your enemy around the world. But here's the truth, though, folks. They have been infiltrated and subverted by the Jew also. And these Muslims, 𝗕𝗓𝗓𝗍, are not in any way idolaters. Idolatry has already been removed from their mouths and their hearts, and they unify 𝗕'𝗔𝗔𝗍 in the appropriate manner without any admixture of idolatrous beliefs. So at this point in time, that way, just in case nobody has seen it, let me do this. Click. Don't do me wrong. Let me find it. I just had it up the other day.
You got it. You're on it.
Let's see. Oh, you dogs. You know what?
You want me to pull it up?
Yeah, I had it up just the other day.
Yeah, it's funny how that whenever you're looking for it, you can't find it at all because they're just burying stuff. If it gets too many clicks, they move it.
I think so. Well, you can see how much scriptures I read.
Yeah, you don't mess around, man. There's no two ways about that.
Where is 𝗕'𝗓𝗔𝗍𝗍? There he is.
In the Quran, 𝗨𝗕𝗱𝗱𝗿.
Let's back it up to
𝗨𝗕𝗱𝗱𝗿 in Jerusalem. Because our goal is to announce to the world, God is one, His royalty is one, His name is one. Or as you say it in the Quran, 𝗨𝗕 Allahu Samad, lam yalad wa lam yulad. God is one, God is eternal, and our dream is to announce it, unite it, announce it to the world.
Now, if anybody doesn't know, Rabbi Yehuda Glick is part of the Temple Mount Association and is part and parcel to bringing in the sacrifice to the Temple Mount. So he's not just Johnny-come-lately rabbi, and we did all that. And I want to tie this in at this point in time, guys. Matter of fact, let's go look at it first. I want to show you how all-invasive it is. And most people, this would bypass their recognition of and the importance of it. But right now, today in America, there's a Jedi contract being reviewed again. You know what? Let's do this. And you can go find all this everywhere. And
Well, I left links to the live stream that you did, and under that live stream, there's also a bunch of links that I've linked to this as well. We got lots of links linking things up. We're linked up here, so we're good.
yeah, so what I want to show y'all is how the language works. So let's read this together. You don't have to be a linguist to figure out the Jedi Knights. So understand this first. The hard J, what we use today as the hard J, which is like Jack, Joker, Jew, is something of recent emanation. The J didn't come into effect until I want to say 1675. But at that point, when it first came out, it took the place of a Y. So what you really would see there is Jedi. Or Yedai, Yehudi. And this is why they use the Force, right? And I'm going to tie this in later with Albert Pike's Morals and Dogmas so y'all understand what the Force is. And the Force, the spiritual power of good deeds, aka the mitzvah, to do good in battle with the dark side, the 𝗕𝗓𝗓𝗍𝗓, or the evil urge within us all, bear the anglicized name of a Jew, which is Yehudi. In other words, Jedi equals Yehudi equals Jew. And of course, if you go back to those movies, they were the rebels, right? The rebels were fighting, I can't even remember now. And the name of the wise old man Yoda, which means one who knows. That's Gnosticism, right? But Gnosis, there's nothing wrong with Gnosis. Gnosis just means knowledge. But Yoda is playing the part of the little Baphomet god, the little green demon that John Dees calls up. but I wanted to make this correlation right here to this contract and why it's important for us. Because as we head towards this fourth industrial revolution, who is in power is of extreme importance. And what we'll see right here, I just want to go down here and show people the only two companies left in bidding for this is Amazon and Microsoft. And that is huge, folks. And I'll show you why. We know Jeff Bezos is a Jew. We already know that. But already, all the research and development centers for all the technology is based in none other than Israel. Now, let me stop this. Right now, you got this whole thing, this bread and circus show going on TV right now about Ukraine and everything else. That is the breadcrumbs given to the public to make it look like they're actually doing their jobs up there. The one thing you won't ever see uncovered is Israelgate. And the fact that Israel produces all our software and hardware and is now going to take up our third-party DoD contract for all servers in the United States. Well, folks, I don't know about y'all, but it doesn't sound to me like it's Russiagate.
Right. And at the same time, we give them more money than we give veterans back home. You know what I'm saying? Just for instance. So they're getting money every which way possible. But I digress.
Well, Richie, let's talk about that. Let's expound on that, right? So nobody in America really understands that that you have this lie that goes on here in the United States about the only democracy in the Middle East. It is not a democracy, folks. Each little community is in what they call a kibbutz, a Kibbutz, a kibbutz, and they are communistic communes. And each one, they have their own little slaves working in there, tilling the land, while Americans fund and fund everything that happens. Off our backs has that nation been built, and all they've done to repay us is train each and every single generation and higher knowledge of how to do these computers and stuff, knowing they would take over. And of course, the 𝗨𝗱𝗲 program and other things of that nature is how they've infiltrated us. But just the simple stuff that, like the Star Wars, that most people go and love and watch, what you really get indoctrinated into is the religion. And this next slide that I have discusses about that. And you can see, guys, how many of the R&D centers are in Israel, and you have Israel in the slide. So let's talk about the force, right? The true name of Satan, the Kabbalists say, is a Yahweh reversed. For Satan is not a black god, but a negation of God. The devil is the personification of atheism or idolatry. For the initiates, this is not a person, but a force. Let the force be with you, guys. And this is the kind of knowledge that we run out on. And we know it. We can see it. We can see as the TV goes worse and worse with shows like Lucifer and what's the Drew Barrymore deal where she's eating. It's just going to continue to get worse because the way that a decadent society goes, the only thing that can truly catches people's attention after being morally decrepit is something more morally obscene. So for the initiates, this is not a person, but a force created for good, but which may serve for evil. It is the instrument of liberty or free will. They represent this force which presides over the physical generation. Let's go over here and see what on page 744, guys, what Albert Pike had to say about Freemasonry. And see, this is where the rubber meets the road, folks. Understand, all truly dogmatic religions have issued from the Kabbalah and returned to it. Everything scientific and grand in their religious dreams of all the Illuminati, Jacob Bohm, Swedenborg, St. Martin, and others is borrowed from the Kabbalah. All the Masonic associations owe to it their secrets and their symbols. And this is the truth. This is the truth. The Lucifer within them is them obtaining godhood themselves and doing it their own way. They're going to do it their way. They're going to climb up the other way. So what I wanted to do here at this point in time is take a quote from Michael Hoffman's book. I think it's Secret Societies and Psychological Operations is the name of the book. It's an excellent short book for those who have never read that book. Michael Hoffman does a really good job in that book. What we are witnessing in the wake of the public enactment of these alchemical psychodramas, whose spiritual consequences for mankind are far more momentous than most have thus far guessed, is a process of Cabalistic occult initiation. These are open-air Masonic ceremonies which produce awe in the wake of the physical and technical accomplishment of their time-lost objectives. So what they have done, and let me break this down simply, is remove us from the knowledge of our natural world by dumbing us down, indoctrinating us, and brainwashing us with the TV, science, and what we call education. And by removing us from the natural world, now we're living in delusion. And because we're living in the delusional world and we think we're nothing but a speck of dust floating in infinite space, the men's removed from their spiritual nature start acting like animals. And as we act like animals, they are in control. And that's just the truth. And so I discussed all this, folks, and we actually did talk about the red heifer clone. What I didn't put in this study was Sabbatean Frankism and the fact that Jacob Frank was the reincarnation of 𝗕𝗵𝗍𝗍𝗍, and that the structure of socialism is that of Jewish Messianism. And you have to understand this, folks, that redemption through sin is their basis of what they do. So once they feel the cup of abominations, they feel that their Messiah is going to come through and usher in their epoch of rule, which is, of course, ludicrous. But this is what they actually teach within their holy writings, is what they call them, and it's nothing but the doctrines and commandments of men. And it's one of those things. Where I'm going to add a passage right here. I want to say it's Matthew 10:16. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be you therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. Right. Matter of fact, let me pull it up on my computer. So I want to read a couple of scriptures from that. Let me see. Let me find it. Here we go.
Killing it, brother. You're killing it. You ain't nervous tonight.
So we go, behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be you therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. Listen, folks, listen to me. The only way you can be as wise as a serpent is to understand and recognize how your enemy goes about using deception to fool you. The only way you can remain harmless as a dove is to walk up into the temple and sling the money changers out and confront the Pharisees and the Sadducees straight to their face. But beware of men, for they will deliver you up to the councils, and that's your courtrooms, and they will scourge you in their synagogues, and you shall be brought before governors and kings for my sake, for a testimony against them and the nations. For when they deliver you up, take no thought how or what you shall speak, for it shall be given to you in the same hour what you shall speak. For it is not you that speak, but the Spirit of your Father which speaketh in you. And with that, I want to bring up something else while I'm thinking about it. There it is, pop up. You see, I've been to it a few times.
This guy is like a library. I agree. Notice how I'm just staying in the background and basically producing? Have at it.
Okay. So what we do here, guys, is on this, we use their what they've written down. I had a guy ask me the other day, well, how do you know the Jews are the Pharisees? Because they've told me so. So let's read this together. The most important of the three were the Pharisees because they are the spiritual fathers of modern Judaism. Their main distinguishing characteristic was a belief in the oral law. So understand this, recognize this. When they say Torah, they mean the oral Torah. that God gave to Moses at Sinai along with the Torah. The Torah, or written law, listen, pay attention to the words here, folks. It is important to have good reading comprehension. The Torah, or written law, was akin to the U.S. Constitution in the sense that it set down a series of laws that were open to interpretation. Let's read that again. The Torah, or written law, was akin to the U.S. Constitution in the sense that it set down a series of laws that were open to interpretation. So let me go ahead and give you another instance. Okay, the book says, "Thou shalt love thy neighbor." And what does the Jew write in his oral Torah or his commentary or his Mishnah Torah? He writes down, we must love our neighbor, but it does not say love a goyim. So that means a Jew can kill a goyim. And that's how they work it, because it's open for interpretation, just like the U.S. Constitution. It is not. It is the scribes and the Pharisees who, through the doctrines and commandments of men, have set the law. So anyway, this goes on, guys. You can start finding this stuff if you want to. This is right here on. They're wide open with how and what they do, and I don't understand how we live in a time where people can't find it. So people that didn't know or didn't join us the other day, here's another excerpt from the Pocket Companion in the History of the Freemasons. So the 70 Nations Return, that's 7-7. 7-7 is code for 666, and I'm going to tell you why. 7-7 is 2/3 of what they call the perfect number of 777. And why is that? Because 777 is 21, which is 3, which is their Trinity, right? But 777 is 2/3. And of course, 2/3, of course, is 666. And when you have the 666, that's a number of a man. And it's giving you knowledge of who's at work here. So the 70 Nations Return, this is the reenacting, the rejoining, when man shall come together as one language, which is binary code in English. English is, there's thousands of teachers in the United States right now teaching children all over the world to speak English, because English is the language of complete deception. And let's look at who Nimrod is. Nimrod, or Belus, the son of Cush, the eldest son of Ham, and founder of the Babylonian monarchy, being Grand Master Mason, master of all Masons. And we see at the bottom where the confusion of tongues, which gave rise to the ancient practice of Masons conversing without words, without language. The point of me tying that in with Albert Pike and the Freemason Bible is what happens, folks, is people go out and they say it's the Freemasons, it's the Jesuits, it's the it's all these other things, it's Illuminati. Well, listen, folks, there's most people that go to college join a fraternity or a sorority and have no clue that they are part and parcel to the system themselves. When you get to the top tier, when you get to the Pope and you get to the Rothschilds, what you are dealing with is a religion. And you have to understand that to call that religion out, and who are the minions on the ground working for the Tikkun Olam. And I hate to break it to you, folks, it's the Jews. And we better find a way to say that and out them for their religion. If there's true people within that call themselves Jews that don't want anything to do with it, well, they're going to have to be like Jack Bernstein, who wrote the book American Jew and Racist Marxist Israel. And of course, he was killed by Mossad. But those people are going to have to quit taking part. Silence in the face of evil is evil itself. And I won't be a part of it. So anybody saying they don't want any part of it, but keeping silent about the Talmud, about the Kabbalah, well, they aren't. They're hiding evil. And of course, the Kabbalah has been interpreted as a means of understanding the cosmos, the emanations of God. That's what they tell you, right? The framework of practical magic. But really what it is psychological technique. Sigmund Freud was a Kabbalist. Of course, his little buddy. Who was his buddy? Richie, the Freud, the other guy.
His nephew.
Yeah.
The one that did all the that wanted people to buy everything materialistic. I can't think of his name off the top of my head.
Bernays.
Well, as soon as you started talking.
Bernays.
Edward 𝗕𝗕𝗿𝗍𝗍.
Yep.
Hey, real quick. I get emails about this. Here we go right now. Paul Adam is saying, RFB, bro, you need to be more careful. This dude is so against scripture. Well, here's the deal. I don't see it that way whatsoever at all. What Brandon's done, and the reason I found him in the first place, which I don't even remember how I found your channel, and it was small at the time, is because I listened to one of his live streams, then I listened to two of them, and I'm like, not only is he laying this out better than I could, he's literally tied every video I've ever done together, and then broke down things like the last comment that I highlighted that said the only thing that's not open in interpretation is the Second Amendment. That isn't true either. None of that's true. Just so you know what I'm saying? Everything Brandon's saying, I agree with completely. And I would have to say that at least 1,300 people that have found this so far have as well. No disrespect, Paul. I'm just telling you. Apparently you haven't watched my videos because I've said the same thing about the Talmud, how they, poking a 3-year-old in the eye is, you can rape them. It's just like poke him in the eye. It's no big deal. The wording, I mean, it's all coming to fruition, man. They just did their first sacrifice. So there's that. You want to step in on that at all, or you don't have to?
You're always going to have men and women that think differently than you do. But the one thing that I've done for every single decision that I've made on my channel, I have always held scripture up telling you why I think that way. Now, let me be completely forthright and honest right here. Could I be wrong? Yes, I could be wrong. And the reason that I'm able to say that is because I'm true to who I am.
Perfect.
The problem with most people is that they are so stuck in their belief that they can never be wrong. So as soon as I disagree with what they think, they have to come at me. And you know this, Richie, they have to come at the man, right? But you can't deny the information that I've laid out. I've done it in a way that I've been open with everything, every question anybody's ever had of me. I have addressed it in the study with information. And I don't see how I'm hiding or trying to shame anybody.
Check it out. The Janice Joplin just left a comment, and it ties it together perfectly. This is what I should have said. All the videos, all the information that I've come across that they've allowed us to see, that we've tied together. Brandon took all the information and then tied it together scripturally, which is something I couldn't do myself because I'm not a biblical expert as he appears to be. Not that he claims to be, but he appears to be, which is why during this hour-and-a-half live stream, I've sat in the background with my mouth shut because that's what I should be doing. And it is what I'm doing. So there's that. Continue.
Yeah, well, we do our best with the amount of knowledge that we have in front of us. And that's one of the things about being just a mere man is we can only do so much, but really all I've ever done is get, and let me restate that. I couldn't have done it without the help of the Father. There's no way. I've been sitting here at this computer days and just something fall into my lap, either on Twitter or through a search engine on Google Chrome. You see, I use Google Chrome. And I find stuff that I should have never been able to find, but I find it. And these are the way the Spirit of Truth works. Love the information, never love the man, and just take what's good, leave the bad if you don't like it.
I love you anyway, bud.
I know. Kabbalah and alchemy are comparable in their methods of manipulation, guys. I'm going to keep telling you this, and men and women have to come to an understanding and grip of this. It's about base humanity. Okay, so in order to take control of society, you have to remove its moral compass. To remove its moral compass, you must remove the intelligence of a society. Only an ignorant and stupid society can be morally decrepit, and that's just a fact. an intelligent and moral society will always be a good society. So they have to remove that from society in order to destroy us. And of course, we know this. This is the order out of chaos, right? Why it's in complete chaos, they're going to try to move in and instill their order with the Hegelian dialectic. The transmutation of letters to their prime state can be seen as a parallel to the alchemical discipline of transmutation of metals to their base elements. Folks, we have been bamboozled for so long that now the enemy is openly showing their hand, and we are so utterly domesticated that the bars that have only been within our minds are manifesting into our reality. And this is important as we move forward. They are openly telling you that they have control of all the property on earth. Remember that quote that I read earlier from 𝗕𝗏𝗍𝗍𝗍. Let's read it again. I want us to read that one more time. Let's read it. The Jewish people taken collectively will be its own Messiah. Thus will be realized the promise of the Talmud that when the times of the Messiah come, the Jews will hold under their keys the properties of all the peoples of the world. Now, anybody who has ever attended my studies will know that there's a difference between color of title and alloidial title. And not one man, woman, or anybody in this country owns anything anymore. And I would imagine that it's like that in every country. That is how far along we are, that we have been separated from the very land that we are called forth to till. Ecclesiastes 1:9, this sets it home for me, that the thing that hath been is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. And there's no new thing under the sun. Is the return back to the world of old, and we're going back to Babel. And this is going to be done with the fourth industrial revolution, and it is the final stage of domesticating men and women. And the sad thing is we have built this cage around ourselves. And love Ecclesiastes. Vanity of vanities, I looked at my labor, and I found myself just doing my job. And it's one of the saddest quotes that I had to put in here. But we find ourselves in a predicament where men and women men and women every day continually commit unjust and immoral acts against one another, and they're just doing their job. And we wonder how the conspiracy is so large. It is not my intention, and I'm going to finish this up right here, Richie, and then we can talk about it. It is not my intention nor goal to bring studies of doom and gloom to anybody that foster hopelessness, but rather bring to your attention the signs of our times. And instead, I hope to ignite a fire of righteous indignation towards the lies that surround us. The programming we receive from birth, along with the assault of chemicals designed to make us docile, is proof that what is feared is an educated, morally upright, Yahuwah-fearing people who will not stand down in the face of evil, but openly expose it. And I want to say this too, the Jews aren't the only issue, but serve the agenda perfectly. Why? And as the Jew are the perfect, loyal minions who have been trained since birth through the Talmud and the Zohar and the Kabbalah as constituents of our adversary. It's and they're going to rise to the top. They're going to take positions of power because they are trained in the art of deception and lies. So of course they're going to, once we lose our moral uprightness, there's going to be a Jew in every prime position because they've been trained to be that way. Ecclesiastes 1:4, I've seen all the works that are done under the sun, and behold, all is vanity and vexation of spirit. And this is a fact, folk. That which is crooked cannot be made straight. That which is wanting cannot be numbered. And I'll attest to this right now. While I was crooked, I couldn't be made straight. It wasn't until that day I changed that when I was made straight, I didn't want to be crooked anymore. All right. I think that's it, Richie. Oh, yeah. Hold on. Before I forget, and don't you forget. And I agree with that. The last PowerPoint you had up, send me that, because that entire first paragraph is exactly why I continue to do this. They've done everything they possibly can to shut me up. I'm on a backup channel right now.
and I'm doing exactly what I know. While I'm listening to you, I keep checking Gmail for your video's been taken down. Like it's not even up yet. It's been taken down, or you're copyright stricken because of, using Brandon's voice or whatever. It's a perfect explanation. Why do you keep doing this? Because we have to. You can't open your eyes and then stop. And some people have, and it really breaks my heart. Some of the guys that I came up under in this community stepped off for whatever reason, and it breaks my heart, man. I will die doing this, and that's a fact. And chances are, so will you.
Well, yeah, and what happens is we lose sight, right? We take the short-term goal of protecting our children or protecting our loved ones right now. But let me reiterate this point to anybody out there watching. If we don't do something now, if we don't start standing together and standing our ground, there's no future for our children. We are fast approaching timelines that have been set in place, and we've been told. We can watch right now the Beto O'Rourke's of the world out there talking about we're going to force and buy back your guns. We see little Greta, what's her name, Greta, out there talking about if we save the banks, we save the world. The little girl pushing the climate change. Have you seen that? Where now children used as propaganda pieces are going to.
It's their favorite. That goes all the way back to Hitler. It's their favorite thing to do, and it works every single. The babies were taken out of the incubators and thrown on the floor. It worked then, and it was a lie. They used the same thing over and over again because it's the sheep. It works like a champ.
Did you see the video, the interview she did where she went up there crying about if we save the banks, we save the world? That's pretty important. It tells you who she's working for. It's not, I mean, come on, really? The banks who print green paper, if we save them, that's going to save the world? I don't think so. But anyway, let's wrap this up, and then me and Richie will talk for a while as long as he wants to. Blessed are you when men shall revile you. And this goes back to Paul, the guy earlier hating on me and persecute you. If I'm not doing something to challenge your thinking, if I'm not making you mad at me every now and then, I'm really not doing my job. You have to challenge everybody. I've had to challenge myself. There's nobody in my thinking that has been challenged more than myself. I go and look in the mirror every day and ask myself, why do I believe what I believe? And I try to get better, and I try to gain more knowledge, because there's a curse for not having knowledge, folks. I want you to read Hosea 4:6 and understand that. And say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. And this is some good quotes that I find. We don't develop courage by being happy every day. And that's one of the things that has happened to society. We've had it too good for too long.
Which was all by design again. I mean, they flooded it. It wasn't like this when I was a kid. Mm-mm. You know what I mean? And that goes right back to Sigmund Freud and Edward Bernays. I mean, it was masterful. All of it, man.
Look, Bernays' propaganda. Look, this was masterful. We have children that are 25, 26 years old and can't screw in light bulbs
at all. Couldn't even imagine how to do it. I'm not going to put any names out there, but I was talking to a friend of mine, and her son was standing in front of us. He handed his mother. This is a kid that was my size. This is a big kid. He handed her a piece of trash. Mom, can you throw this away for me? He was he handed it to her over the barrel and saw nothing wrong with that. Like, it would be easier for him to simply drop it into the barrel, but he didn't know how.
Yeah.
It's not entirely her fault, because the school has her son more than she does.
Yeah.
And that's where it all comes from, which is why I always make the videos talking about the schools and how they slid in there. They slid into everything while everybody was worrying about cocaine and crack and new televisions and I mean, it was when you're dealing with an entity that stood there and watched God create everything, you're dealing with a serious, serious enemy. And that's exactly what we're dealing with, in my opinion.
Yeah. And really, it's one of the things that I've done with my two youngest boys is we homeschool them. We took the hit. I'm still working in the corporate world, and I hate every minute of it, but I do that for my sons who we homeschool, and we teach them by nature. They haven't read the first book or anything. I'm teaching them nature first. My 5-year-old can already run trout lines. And that's what these boys are going to learn. And then I'll teach them the English language. And when I get done teaching them the English language, they'll be ready for life.
There's a reason why they're making it so difficult for people to homeschool their children.
Oh, yeah, they do. They make it difficult. I know. I don't
remember how old you are, Brandon, at all.
I'm 39.
All right, so I got a decade and change on you, actually.
Yeah,
but I remember back when I was a kid, especially down south where you're from, you could drive by a house. No matter, it could be an estate or it could be a shack. It didn't matter. But if you saw those two lions at the end of the driveway, this is my house, and I can defend my house. Those two lions right now, they're symbolic because it's not you. They came up with property tax, excise tax, income tax, inheritance tax. You can never own anything whatsoever at all. And the people that did this all with fake make-believe monopoly money that's backed up by absolutely nothing. And people didn't care then, and it's going to come around and bite them now. Ugly.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, Richie. Here, I'm going to take this. If I can figure out how to do this, there we go. Yeah, I'll take that down so we can everybody can see us talking. Did I do it?
What?
Did I take the screen? The screen?
Good.
Okay. Good. Yeah, and it's one of those things, right, where slowly but surely they've taken everything from us, and we are completely unaware of how it happened. But if you control the education centers and you control the knowledge that each man and woman child has, well, how do they know any different? They're just they're blissfully ignorant.
I remember when everything seemed to speed up. You know what I mean? You used to have your mother at home, and it was them once again that came up with the women's liberation movement. Who do you think was behind that? It was the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds in the background, whatever. But it was them, the Carnegies, the Mellons. It was the same Illuminati, whatever you want to call them, the enemy.
Yeah.
They did this entire thing step by step by step by step, and they completely broke down society to the point where we're on the internet fighting for our lives because they're simply shutting that down too, and nobody seems to have a problem with it. I use that phrase. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but when they came for the Polish, I didn't care because I wasn't Polish. When they came for the blacksmith, I didn't care. I wasn't a blacksmith. When they came for me, there was no one left. The people, they've done such a great job of making anyone think that anyone that talks about anything we're talking about is a complete conspiracy theorist or a tinfoil hat or something that you don't want to be. It's not popular. You don't want to be that. It's worked perfectly because they're shutting us down, and the mainstream people that are going to be affected by this more than they care to know don't seem to care, man. It's crazy. I never thought it was going to happen this fast, man.
No, as just as recently as 2 years ago, Richie, I was telling my wife that we had at least 10 years left, and at least at the very minimum. I don't think that way anymore. It's coalescing too fast, and society itself is getting too decadent. You cannot. The society's not going to be able to withstand itself because it's going to eat itself as it keeps losing its morality. And I don't know, maybe one more generation of children coming out of the public education system that thinks they're unicorns. How much more of this can society stand to hold up?
It's insane to me how they bring a 5-year-old. This little girl is so brave because her parents started giving her hormones, and now she's a young man. Yeah. This is insanity, man.
It is.
It's all about vanity because the parents don't care about the children. They want to be on that television show we were nothing before, but now we're the brave parents of a brave child who at 5 years old discovered they were trapped in someone else's body.
Right.
That's a bad parent. That's somebody that should be in jail just so they can see what it's like, because jail's not fun.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you right now, it's the inversion of nature, just on the same concept with the feminism, right? They take and invert all of reality. So nature provides that the man is the protector of his family, is protector of his children, and he has that role as the head of family. Well, of course, they invert that, and they take and make the female the head of everything, and wonder why everything's running rampant. And of course, you'll see it in society too. Pay attention to, if you do watch sitcoms. I don't watch them anymore, but the head of the family is always some doofus dumbass speaking, and they're always dummies. And it's totally programming, and nobody knows which way's up and which way's down, or which way's left and which way's right.
It's true. It's true. I mean, I didn't think that I said it so many times, but I said it because it was a good thing. You know, what is good will become evil. What is evil will become good. Well, we're here. We're here. It's an absolute trip, and nobody want to rock the boat. They brought in politically correct back in the 90s to soften everybody up. You can't be. How dare you're proud that you're an American? Well, because I'm American. What do you want me to do? You know what I mean? I'm not walking around with a strap on wearing, riding chaps and whatnot. I'm just an American. That's all there is to it. I'm still like that to this day. I definitely upset people when they meet me in real life. That's why I usually don't talk, but it is what it is. It's been masterful. The way they've been doing it has been masterful. And we're getting there, brother. It's sped up.
Oh yeah, no, it has. And one of the things that I focus on is the technological. Of course, that's right. That's true. A human being is a monster, and that's why we don't use the words man or woman anymore. But the technological thing is one of the things that I focus on. Of course, that comes from Nicholson 1968 and how long.
Dude, I was gonna interrupt you like twice and said, do you listen to Nick? Because you say a lot of things. Nick was right on it. I haven't heard from Nicholson in a while. We used to talk a lot, but he got busy. So
yeah. And you know what? I'm not going to say if man, we're all human. The day they knock on your door or something of that nature, and you got children, that's a hard stand up.
Without a doubt, Nick was the one that finally convinced me to come out and say that I was targeted. And like I said, I wasn't targeted where it's Richie from Boston. All the things were happening to me. It took me a year to figure it out. And at the time I was with somebody who was a medical professional, and she saw it all happening. Whether I was conscious or not, she saw it happening. Right. She saw me show up at her house at 1:30 in the morning, setting off her entire alarm system because I was too afraid to stay at my house. I'm not really afraid of things, but I am afraid of things I can't see. And I didn't want to tell anybody because I kept thinking, if I tell them, they're going to know it's working.
Right.
But apparently they knew it was working anyway, but it was happening to Nick too. And apparently if that doesn't work, they step it up one way or the other. I don't have too many things you can threaten. I am stupid enough to go back to jail, whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I talked to an ex-Navy SEAL.
Me too. We got this fun. We got funny followers, don't we? I tell people we got an army. Just some people can't speak. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, and he's targeted. Matter of fact, he was after he finished the SEALs, he was Sylvester Stallone's bodyguard for a long time, and he decided to change his ways and start openly talking about on social media what really happens in Hollywood. Now he's targeted, and it's sad, but most of the family members end up shunning the targeting victim away because it's too much for them to understand or recognize that it can happen.
Yeah, without a doubt, they don't mess around. They don't mess around, and I guess they just decided with the right amount of propaganda that they could just start to pull the plug on the internet, which is exactly what they're doing. I mean, I've never seen it this bad in my life, and it's amazing how many channels won't even consider. All they do is talk about celebrities. This celebrity just made a secret hand. Dude, they know we're watching, so talking about it is just wasting breath. to get views or whatever. What we're talking about is not popular, but it's the most important thing in the world, in my opinion. If I'm wrong, I was married before, it happens. I'm almost positive we're not. When they start to sacrifice animals and tell people they're doing it to redo God's covenant, well, God's covenant was never broken. You ever see it rain out, then there's a rainbow in the sky? That's God. That's how it works. That's what he can do. He said it would never happen again by water. It'll be fire. I know. Watch my vape. It's not the same thing at any rate.
It's okay, brother.
I hate to pop the comments up while you're doing your presentation because I know it's distracting as hell.
No,
but
hey, look, when I did the presentation, it was fine because I didn't even see it. I couldn't even see it. And you know, they're going to give this outlook of these 7 laws for us, right? And they look real good from the outside looking in, that they're real good for humanity. The one thing they didn't tell you is that it's 620 laws for the Goyim.
620, correct?
Correct.
All right.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's crazy. And when you're showing the nice, don't marry me. I told my wife not to marry me, and I wasn't wrong. Don't marry me. I suck. At any rate, yeah, they're laying it all out there perfectly, and seeing the guy. I mean, when you played that clip from the guy from the ADL, like we're shutting down hate before it happens. Think about what he just said. Think about how are you shutting down hate before it happens? I mean, this is Minority Report, Richie from Boston, crazy talk. And yet that's them saying it now. You know what I mean? It just blows me. Chemtrails aren't real. Oh my God, dude, you really think the government's they're controlling the weather? What a jerk. Actually, here they are saying, well, that's not, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Here's the truth, and then here's all the information to back it up. Well, I don't like it, so I can't hear it. And it's amazing. Cognitive dissonance is an amazing tool that's been sown throughout. They're waiting for me and you to die one way or the other. They got the kids.
Yeah,
they were homeschooled.
𝗕𝗔𝗵𝗿𝗶𝗳𝗏 said it best, right? He in his little, that was back in the 70s. He said, America won't, they can't remove the banana peels from their ears, right? And it doesn't matter.
Russian KGB guy?
Yeah. He said, it doesn't matter if I take black and white and shove it down your throat. You're not going to change until the boot hits you in the ass. And that's the unfortunate reality.
It's sad. I'll tell you what.
That's what happens when a society is demoralized, and like we have been.
No doubt, man. No doubt. And I'm really glad to have you on, man, because YouTube does what YouTube does, and you stood tall, and you actually came back worse. Because I saw that video, and I'm like, this ain't going to stay up. This won't be up for the rest of the day. So that's a good thing. I've been on YouTube long enough to figure this out. When they smack you down and hold you back for a week and you come out even worse and then they don't do anything, it means they're changing the algorithm again. So be ready for that and do yourself a solid and make a backup channel. Okay, this is all right. Flat or round?
Flat.
No, without a doubt, man, without a doubt. And you guys knew it took me forever to come out because I remember when I was doing this and then thanks, Mark Carrington. I like the vest, dude. I'm familiar. It took me forever, but the thing is I didn't watch a bunch of really well edited, presented videos on the earth is flat because of this, that, and the other. I started going to mountaintops. I started launching drones. I started getting P900s. I had an inkling because I watched the sky my entire life. And I started noticing stars appearing in the sky. And I'm like, that doesn't happen. Like that, there's a new star. And they're all red, yellow. They're all the exact same colors that you would find in a television. The red, yellow, and green flashing. And I just kept going. And the better my optics got, the more I started realizing they're behind water. They're literally, obviously, completely behind water. Water's above, water's below. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, that's why I bought the telescope up there.
It's crazy, man. And it's funny because all the technology that we have, the one piece of technology that never gets any better is telescopes. They never give you a good telescope. You can get infrared now. I've got phenomenal footage of several people launched drone military balloons with infrared cameras on them, and it's totally flat. The sun's just as close as it appears. The sun and the moon are obviously the same size. Because you want to hear a conspiracy theory? The sun's 93 million miles away. The moon's 238, 286, whatever it is today. But they're the exact same size because they're the exact same size.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Well, it was easy for me because I used to drive a lot of pilings on long bridges down here.
oh, you're telling the story. Here, listen to this. Listen to this.
And so we would survey, and I started, you'd have your benchmark set, and the surveyors would come down. You'd have your benchmark. That's where all your surveys would be for miles on end. There's no curvature.
None.
There's absolutely no curvature, and the bridges are built perfectly level, and they run perfectly parallel with the water below.
So, I was in Colorado. Excuse me. I was in Colorado on my way back home. I stopped at a gas station, and my truck was having an electrical problem. So I figured this is a huge gas station. Might as well start ripping my dashboard apart, pretending I'm getting gas for an extended period of time. Some elderly Southern woman walks up and says, "Could you move your truck?" And I turned and looked at her, and I said, and I looked at my dashboard completely apart. The truck, the hood's open, it's going nowhere. And I went, "Yeah, let me just give me a few minutes. Let me get this out of the way, because all those other pumps over there that are completely empty, those won't work, because that's how I am." About 3 minutes later, this really jacked dude walks up with a Glock on his hip and says, he says his name. I'm not going to say his name, but he can comment if he wants. He said he would. At any rate, he said something. He said, I'm this and you're Richie. And I said, okay. And he's got his five or six little blonde haired kids all staring at me and his wife. And then he's like, "Honey, this is him." And it was like I was a television star or whatever. Yeah. He kept saying, "I'm stationed right over here and I'm SF. I'm SF." And I kept saying, nice. I wasn't catching what he was pitching.
Yeah.
Special forces. He's active duty. And he did halo jumps, high altitude, low opening. Yeah. So he jumped from 70,000 plus feet. He said, "Your videos woke me up." And I'm thinking chemtrails. I said, "Which one?" He said, "The earth is flat and I can prove it." And I'm like to hear it, to know it and tell people, but then to have someone that's actually been 70,000 up jumping and saying it's totally, completely flat was a trip. And he wasn't the only one. There's more of them, but they're still active. They did promise they'd come on, even if it was anonymous, but it's hard to get a hold of them. And I understand that once I start quacking about it, people that may know him might have said, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. But you can't hit me up. You got my number still. I'm talking to him right now.
Yeah, I've got the Zetetic astronomy books behind me up on the shelf up here. I don't accept the reality in which they presented me at all. I don't accept it at all. None of it.
Everything about NASA. They even flaunt it in your face with the green screen, the guys in the space station, blah, blah, blah. Right before this live stream, 7:15, it was dark out. I just videotaped an object zooming across, taking a slight right, and the airport's right over there. So there's planes flying, and it's right above him. So it isn't somebody's personal drone. It isn't any of that, because it would be violating airspace. I can't fly my drone here. My drone shuts itself right down because it knows there's planes around. There's stuff up there, and there's movements that we're seeing, and they're calling them stars and space station. I'm almost positive we're seeing either angelic or demonic movements because it's the waters above. But I digress.
Yeah, and if we ever can take the keys back to the knowledge that's been hidden away, we can answer a lot of these questions. Because I think the further you go back, the more answers are available on some of this stuff. But one thing they've done is hidden the beauty of the natural world in order to bring about their digital matrix in its place. And of course, most men and women are walking around with their heads stuck in that digital world and never looking up to see the beauty of the place that they actually inhabit. And all of it fits hand in hand. It really does.
How did I just videotape a satellite with an iPhone 7 in the dark? But I did. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. Yeah. At any rate, all right, guys. Richie from Boston, Brandon from the Big Sib YouTube channel. We just went 2 hours. I don't think I've ever. Maybe I went 2 hours with Anthony Patch or somebody else at one point, but I don't think so. At any rate, Brandon's links will be in the description. I've listened to every single one of his videos while I was on the road, and that's why when I got home, I had to get him on, and I'm glad I did. YouTube is going to try to shut him down, so anything you can do to help his channel, help his channel. Like, share, subscribe, or don't. Anything?
We digress.
We're out. It takes a while.